Hey everybody, welcome to
Hello.
Britpops React. You're me, BP1 and BP2.
Here we are.
And it wouldn't be right if we didn't react to this one that happened certainly last night in the UK. Prince Harry had an interview, Hot Potato, on ITV, which was about an hour and a half interview. And we got a clip of that, just a little rundown on a couple of bits that were said, and obviously we've also got another clip from his other interview that he had on the show 60 Seconds.
60 minutes?
60 minutes, yeah, cool. Yeah. 60 seconds would be
pretty
small.
Get a lot in there real quick, wouldn't he?
So yeah, 60 minutes. Little clip there about his reaction from the royal family to Meghan Markle. So we'll just watch a little bit of this. I've watched the interview in full. I watched it last night, all hour and a half of it. So this would be a bit of a recap that we can chat about and just sort of go see what we think. You haven't watched it, have you?
No. Kind of stay out of these things, but
a lot of stuff in the press, though, isn't there, at the moment? In like all BBCs, it's everywhere.
Unfortunately, he's giving them too much ammunition all the time. When he first got married, him and Meghan, there was the uproar about all of that. Then they said that they were stepping down from the limelight, where they were going to, give up their titles. HRH, going to go to Canada. Didn't stay there very long. And then they ended up in Hollywood, signing Netflix deals and this, that, and the other. So you asked for a quiet life, and then you don't go and lead one. You're just opening yourself up, aren't you, to a lot of this kind of thing.
Well, from this interview, he very much has his beef, as we say.
Yeah.
With the media, he has a real issue with.
They always have, though.
British media.
They always have. I mean, obviously that was something that they claim was the reason for his mum's death, Diana's death. The media hounding them when they were both young kids. I remember the now King Charles made a pact with the media to say, look, when we go away on holidays, we'll come out and we'll do an interview, and then that's the end of it. Leave us alone so that we can live a normal life. When they went to unis and all that sort of thing, they were left alone. But you can't have it one way, and then you want to promote your books, you want to promote your Netflix videos and blah blah blah. Then you want to be friends with it. You can't have the two, can you?
No.
You want a quiet life where you don't. So
yeah, there was many issues that I found from last night. All right, we'll play a little bit of a clip. We'll stop it as and when.
I do not want to be a single dad, and I certainly don't want my children to have a life without a mother or a father. The relationship between certain members of the family and the tabloid press, those certain members have decided to get into bed with the devil, right? To rehabilitate their image. But the moment,
so that was quite a key one, because he didn't in this interview he doesn't really name names as such. Whereas I believe in his 60-minute interview, he's a little bit more open. But here, when he says getting into bed with the media, I believe allegedly that he is talking about Camilla. And he goes on to say that some of the royal family didn't have a very good image, and to try and make their image better, they would go to the media and almost say, well, if you make me look good, I start giving you stories. And he many times last night, Harry said about planting, there was a lot of planted stories, or he had a one-to-one conversation with, allegedly had a one-to-one conversation with Camilla, and there was information leaked from that conversation. It could only have been him or her, and he's like adamant it wasn't me. So, do you know what I mean? So it's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Using media for your personal gain, which he is doing now.
Which he's doing now, and let's be honest, the thing that opened up the can of worms in the first place, the big Oprah Winfrey thing, which that was a massive coup for Oprah, and also them coming out and saying, airing a lot of dirty laundry in public, which always, the royal family tried to keep a lid on, didn't it? You know, it was like
Yeah.
you don't air, you put up and shut up, I believe is the saying.
That's right.
And I don't know, mate. You know, the young lad, he was always in the media spotlight. I mean, he went through some torrid times when he was younger, did some really stupid things when he was younger, seemed to get away with it, you know, and he's always in the shadow of his bigger brother. But yeah, I can understand that his comment about he doesn't want to be a single dad. Then just worry about your family. Stop turning up writing books about stuff and turning up on media platforms. Okay, I understand you need to earn a living, but
Well, let's see what other things you got asked, and then we'll go.
yeah.
That rehabilitation comes at the detriment of others, me, other members of my family, then that's where I draw the line. Forgiveness is 100% a possibility, because I would like to get my father back. I would like to have my brother back. They've shown absolutely no willingness to reconcile up until this point. And I'm not sure how honesty is burning bridges. You know, silence only allows the abuser to abuse, right? The one group of people that could have helped or stopped this from happening were the very people that were encouraging it. Or some of the way that they were acting or behaving definitely felt to me as though, unfortunately, that stereotyping was causing a bit of a barrier. Well, American actress, divorced, biracial, there's all different parts to that. The day that she died was just a really, really horrible reaction from my family members. They were on the back foot, and then the briefings and the leaking and the planting.
I mean, he says that a lot. Briefing, the leaking, and the planting. Saying there's a lot of stuff. I mean, I think, you know, and on top of that, what he said last night was very much he saw his brother with Kate.
Yep.
Kate, you know, has come on board into the institution, as he calls it.
Yep.
And she's working with William. They're doing their royal duties. They're working with the Commonwealth, and they're doing what? And he said, I always wanted my other, whether it was Meghan or anybody, to come in. I could work with my brother. We could work together in the Commonwealth, and we could do this stuff.
Yeah, they could have done some big things together. Yeah.
However, that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what happened is obviously Meghan came in, and she doesn't necessarily have that background of British institution. You know, I don't know
Institution.
institution. And she's come in, and they've fallen in love. And I think somewhere along the line, I could be completely wrong here, but my impression is that she's sort of going, I don't want to do all that.
Yeah.
I want us to have a life as a prince and a princess, and us to have, but there's duties that need to be done. And I just think that the media picked up on the frictions between the family, and obviously that meant so much media attention was on them, and that Meghan's gone, I can't be dealing with this, I want to go back to America. Are you coming? I think he's gone, yeah, I agree, let's do it. And by doing that, they stepped away from their royal duties. They weren't prepared to do them. I don't know what the ins and outs were there. And that's obviously the way they lost their titles, and they lost their privileges, and they lost their security. And when he asked him what's his priority, he says it's the safety of his family.
Mm-hmm.
But by saying other things in the book that aren't quoted on here about stuff that he's been done in the military, the safety of his family is now not as safe as what it was before he even started doing all this. He could have easily gone and just had a quiet life. Yeah. But they're not making money. Fact. And he probably thinks, right, everyone hates me, everyone thinks I'm a deserter. I need to say what's hurt me. And he's brought it out in a way that it's hurting the royal family.
Hurt everybody a lot.
It's hurting his mum and his dad and his brother, and he wants them back. And that my face there was just like, I can't see how that's going to happen. Personally.
Yeah. I mean, well, as I say, we don't know the ins and outs. I mean, he's going on about Meghan being divorced biracial outsider, this, that, and the other. I mean, Camilla was divorced, and that didn't stop King Charles marrying her. So that's not, I don't think you can sort of. And I think most of the family, as we know, his brothers, his uncles, all their marriages have gone up in flames as well. So they haven't got a great track record in the royal family for keeping marriages alive. Whereas at the moment, William and Kate are looking quite good. They do, toe the party line. They put on the royal face and turn up and do their duty, and are good sort of parents to the youngsters and all that sort of thing. But I guess if all of a sudden you get somebody come in from the outside, decide they don't want to do this, upset your gran, upset your dad, because they don't want to turn up to the state opening of some new Greg's Bakery down the road, or whatever the thing they've been asked to do. Because your life isn't your own, is it? You've got to travel all around the Commonwealth, all around the world, bowing and curtsying to other people, and
you know what you're marrying into, put it that way. And if you don't,
exactly,
which is what I don't.
I think
we all said at the time. I don't think she knows what is.
It was quite a whirlwind romance to start with.
It was,
hadn't been in anywhere in the sort of public gaze as to in any extent on the scale of royal. Obviously she, good actress and all that from her side of the pond. But as soon as you come under the scrutiny, and the thing is, you have those royalists and the anti-royalists, all of a sudden they've got new ammunition. Oh, she's not British, she's not one of us, she's divorced, blah, blah, blah. So that the hate and everything started straight away. You would stick up for your partner, you'd stick up for your wife and your children. So you could see that he probably pushed back, and all of a sudden it's caused friction. But I mean, the person that sort of, we all know he had a great time with, a great connection with before was his nan, the Queen, and I think that sort of went by the wayside as well, didn't it? I think that sort of came under
I think even at that level, All right, let's finish it off.
Okay, we're here to celebrate the life of Granny and to mourn her loss. Can we come together as a family? I sit here now in front of you, asking for a family, not an institution. I want a family.
It was there was a lot came out, wasn't there, that he found out through the media that his gran had died, nobody phoned him up. He turned up on his own. He basically went to the funeral, and then he got on a plane and came back from Balmoral, flew away. So there was all that, he was kind of, was he treated as an outsider or a loner? Why didn't they say, look, Gran's died, come in and we'll have a chat about it, and we'll all go up and see her. And
there's
that
some big issues in there. I think again we don't know what's what, but he does lay bare quite a bit in his book.
Yep.
I'll try not to tread on the dog bowl in case I fall over and hurt myself on it. But we know that he's had a bit of interaction with William there. He was sort of accusing William of physically pushing him to the floor.
Still brothers though, aren't you? Your
brothers
don't always get on with my relations
with each other.
That's it,
Some things are personal though, aren't they? Some things you can say in a book, and you can say, look, I disagree with this, I don't like this, I don't like what's been happened to me, I want to sort it out. Fine. But there are bits where he wants his family back, but you can't go. There's things that stay in the family that you just don't say. It's just a hidden rule, unwritten rule, isn't it? Really, you didn't need to tell anyone about that. But I think it's hatred or jealousy or something which has gone to that level to give it that extra bit of detail. He didn't need to, but I don't understand it. It's this sort of Jekyll Hyde sort of mentality here. It's like, I want all this and I want that, but I'm going to say how bad it is. And he has a go at the royal family and people within the royal family, and then he tries to focus it on the media and say, actually, they're not racist or anything. It was the media that created all the racism stuff. And then it's like, what do you want here, mate?
Yeah.
And that's what he asked him. What do you want? I want safety for my family, and now you've blown that. Really, you know, you've opened yourself up to more criticism, more of a target for media, and for cultures as well. I don't know, mate, but we got this one, which is a 2:54.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of starting to see the things coming out on the websites, the news websites, and the radio. You know what they're all going on about what he said. Obviously, the thing that he said about his time in the armed forces, we'll probably hear that as well. So yeah, let's go over this and see what's going on, and add a bit of
60-minute interview that he did in the US. He was a lot more open. I've seen some clips on there where he actually brings out names. This bit that we've got is Prince Harry on his family's reaction to his relationship with Meghan Markle, because I think as a Brit we seem to think that, you know, when he said if it was Meghan or anybody else, I could come in and work. If it was somebody that came in that knew what the score was, went along with it and did it, and was mentally and ready prepared for that, I don't think any of this would happen. Personally, I could be, you know, that's just an opinion of mine, which a lot of you will probably say, oh no, I disagree with that. A lot of you might agree, whatever. We've all got our own opinions. I mean, I think there was something there that was not enough. Didn't know what was involved, and I can imagine that there was very much I'm not doing this. I'm a person of me. I make the choices, not you, not your institution, not your family, and that doesn't sit well in the royal family. You go, like you said, you should put up, you shut up. You come in, you do your job, you be who you are. This is what we look to do. This is what we do. We're not in a world where we were 100, 200 years ago. We're in a world now just very diverse, very multicultural, very much, a speak out world. You know, speak out and it goes against all those sort of all those traditions, I guess, that have come from the royal family. And I just think there was this rebel inside, and it was never really. That's what's caused it, in my opinion.
I mean, we've the royal family is. Yeah.
Don't we go like this, our Brits?
Hey. I mean, we're talking about things that we've got half an idea of because we live over.
Yeah, we've been around a long time. We've seen it.
We've seen it, but we know nothing about the real life of what goes on for the royal family. I mean, there'd be that set tradition. You know, I mean, the outcry over here when the Diana thing was going on, and unfortunately, you know, her untimely death. You know, and they all closed ranks. To start with, they didn't want to put the flags at half-mast. I know that was a big outcry, and then the Queen come out and sort of did a annus horribilis thing to sort of sum up how bad things were. But they closed ranks. They're a closed rank society. You know, anybody coming in from the outside to diminish the royal family, as you know, as what's happened here. Like you say, and the thing is, this younger generation, the Harrys and the Meghans, they're all into social media. They got a direct conduit to the outside world now, whereas before, you know, it would have been you had to write a letter to somebody and say, oh you know, I'm really, really hacked off with this. I mean,
they won't comment. They won't comment on this either.
No,
they never do.
They'll close ranks. I mean, look at the Andrew thing. I mean, how quiet they are on that, and the mess he's made of all that sort of self promotion and things there. So, but the flip side is a lot of the people said she wanted one thing, and that was to become a princess and marry a prince and become a royal. And then the reality was, actually, it's quite a lot of hard work. You know, I got to do all these things that it wasn't on the sort of job descriptions. You know, I don't just get to dress up and go to all these.
That
fancy
wasn't in
parties.
the small print.
So I don't know.
Having to work for the rest of my life. All right, let's just watch this and see what he says on this.
Harry writes that when he introduced Meghan Markle to his family in 2016, his father initially took a liking to her, but William was skeptical, disdainfully referring to Meghan as an American actress. Though Harry doesn't specify who, he says other members of the royal family were uneasy as well.
Apparently.
Right from the beginning, before they even had a chance to get to know her.
Good programme, that, though.
And the UK press jumped on that, and here we are.
And what was that based on, that mistrust?
the fact that she was American,
Okay.
an actress, divorced, black, biracial, with a black mother. Those were just 4 of the typical stereotypes that becomes a feeding frenzy for the British press.
But all those things within the family also were sources of mistrust.
Yes, you know, my family read the tabloids. You know, it's laid out at breakfast when everyone comes together. So whether you walk around saying you believe it or not, it's still leaving an imprint in your mind.
Yeah.
So if you have that judgment based on a stereotype right at the beginning, it's very, very hard to get over that. And a large part of it for the family, but also the British press and numerous other people, is like, he's changed. She must be a witch. He's changed. As opposed to, yeah, I did change. And I'm really glad I changed. Because rather than getting drunk, falling out of clubs, taking drugs, I'd now found the love of my life. And I now have the opportunity to start a family with her.
Soon after, their relationship...
Well, I mean, I didn't think that was a normal night out for a royal family, to be fair.
Whenever I went out with him, it always ended up like that. But let's be honest here. I mean, you know, you're not the only guy that's sort of married somebody that your parents or your friends or your mates or whatever didn't like, you know. Obviously, but you're in a bigger spotlight. I mean, actors, actresses, they'll get it from left and right, don't they, if they come out and do something you don't like. But they don't.
The only thing with the royal family is they're, like you said, they're closed off.
Yeah,
normally we don't detriment a
see
little
that.
bit, because when something comes into the royal family that's like, oh, this is not what we're used to, because we're all used to people that's gone through public schools and we talk a certain way and we behave in a certain way.
Princess Di wasn't. She was just a nursery school teacher.
There.
Yeah, she got handed out.
Fergie,
I mean, it is a massive one. It
is historic as well.
You'd think they'd learn, but you know.
But you can't. You fall in love with someone. Like he fell for Meghan. Meghan fell for him, and that's how it works. But you know, he's only commented there on, you know, the divorced.
Yep.
You know, by race. Actress. He's just commented on that. He's not, and he has never commented on. It's not because we didn't want to do all the stuff that we want to do.
Yeah. I mean, he said
difficult
at the beginning. His, you know, King Charles, his father, liked her, but then we're not privy to why they don't. You know, maybe she rubbed them up. I don't know. You know, he said, she said. None of us are privy to any of that. You know,
two sides to each story.
You know, William and Kate. You could see in the wedding that was very bit cold, wasn't it? You know, Harry and Meghan's wedding. It was all a bit strange, but. You know, unless they all come out and start throwing mud around, we're just sort of getting one side. But okay,
no. All right. Well, we're still halfway through that. If you're still with us, why don't you hit the subscribe button? Come with us at Britpops React. Well, obviously today we're chatting about Prince Harry's interview from last night. But you know, there's lots on our channel. We react to all sorts, and you know, do come along with us, because they're not quite. We don't talk as much as we do in this one. We have a normal, natural reaction, but I think we've got a bit to say in this one, as well as, you know, what Harry said, and interesting. And us being Brits and the way we react to it, it'd be interesting to know what you think in the comments. Let us know down below, and while you're there, if you could hit a thumbs up on the video, it would help us out. All right,
please do.
Let's keep watching.
Relationship became public, Harry insisted on putting out a statement condemning some of the tabloid coverage of Meghan and what he called, quote, the racial undertones of comment pieces.
Okay.
You write that your dad and your brother, William, were furious with you for doing that. Why?
They felt as though it made them look bad. They felt as though they didn't have a chance or weren't able to do that for their partners. What Meghan had to go through was similar in some part to what Kate and what Camilla went through. Very different circumstances. But then you add in the race element, which was what the British press jumped on straight away. I went into this incredibly naive. I had no idea the British press was so bigoted. Hell, I was probably bigoted before the relationship with Meghan.
You think you were bigoted before the relationship with Meghan?
I don't know. Put it this way, I didn't see what I now see.
They were married in May 2018 in a ceremony that seemed to
2018?
promise a more
Blimey.
modern and
Wow.
inclusive royal family, and given the titles Duke and Duchess of Sussex. But behind the scenes, according to Harry, William's mistrust of Meghan only worsened.
Did you ever try to meet with William and Kate to try to diffuse the tension?
Yep.
How did that meeting go?
Not particularly well.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
They were
Again, it's all, you know, again, speculation. He said, she said. Like I said, that they may have had the meetings, but if somebody's telling you something you don't want to hear, either side, you know, it could be him or his brother. If somebody's saying what you don't want to hear, then it becomes heated, becomes riled, and you know, like I say, they don't go as well as you think.
no.
Strange. I mean, the big one for me, which we haven't covered here, is this bit about him while he was in the armed forces now coming out saying that, you know, he was responsible for killing X amount of Taliban fighters, 25 I think, while he was an Apache gunship gun operator. I mean, that has not done him any good at all, because
No. Well, I think they've dropped that. I think they've cut it, because what happened was he's done these 2 interviews, and that clip came out of the book. Now, whether that
Yes.
was brought up in these interviews, I don't know, but because of that was leaked from the book
yeah,
coming out, I think even if that was taken in the interview, I believe they would have cut it out because of the reaction that it's had. You know, they've had to step up
But-
his security, haven't they?
yeah, but I mean, who in their right mind would have you know, white stamped that or let it through in the initial release of the book? I mean, those are the things, the unspoken things that you don't mention when you've been in the army. Whatever you've done, you don't come out and then start sort of saying about, you know, how many scores you've kept and this, that, and the other. That just, as we've seen, that's raising tensions now in the Afghan community, because they're sort of, you know, want to seek retribution. They've got somebody to point a finger at, and all his good work that he has done. I mean, I really respected the work that he did with the Invictus Games stuff. I thought that
Absolutely.
was brilliant.
Yeah.
You know,
And he's done some great work.
Yeah.
He has, and he's got a lot to give. You know, he's a passionate guy. You can see it in him. You know, he's got a lot to give. But I feel that he's
got a sense of humour, which is great.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, they've
He's
both
just got
been through the army and done the banter.
going on. There's too
It
much
is.
going on, as in with the media.
want
He's
this,
got to
if you
drop
don't-
this thing with the media, right? They said it last night, and you know, he said, "Oh, you know, when I spoke to my dad, he said your dad just says you got to let it go, got to let it pass. You just carry on doing what you're doing. Just whatever the media says, just let it go because and he can't. He's not the sort. He can't let it go.
No, because one day they're saying stuff about you that you don't like. The next day they're saying stuff about, you know. Then you want the media to be on your side when you're going out to promote Invictus Games, and so on and so forth. You know, you can't have it both ways. You can't attack them one minute and then say they're the best thing ever when you need them on your side. So
Yeah.
and everything is yesterday's news. You know, it's there for today and then quickly passes over. So I think
It's blown up before this, isn't it? You know, and it's gone in the media. It goes away, and people forget. You know, it takes a couple of months. People forget, but you know, with this is so, you know, detrimental to. And he says, "Oh, I haven't said anything bad in the book. I haven't had a go at anybody." It's like, mate, you don't need to have a direct go at anybody just by laying out what you've laid out.
Okay.
So yes, it's a real difficult one. But there you go.
It is a shame, you know. Like I said, I mean, he was hounded as a young kid. He seemed to do all the bad things, whereas his brother seemed to do all the right things. You know, as he says, going to nightclubs, getting drunk and taking drugs, dressing up in Hitler uniforms with his mates and getting caught naked. I mean, he's done some pretty impressive things. I wish they were on my CV, to be fair.
Yeah.
But
he's done
you know,
some things on people's bucket lists.
Unfortunately, he's in the public eye, and that's not how you're sort of supposed to act. And when it comes back to bite you on the arse, you can't complain about it because you got away with a lot, you know. So
yeah. So
there
round
you go.
up for me would be, I disagree with, you know, if he feels the need to come out and say what he said, then fine. But I feel it's more for. I get it's gone against everything that he probably wanted. He wanted his father and his brother back. He's not going to get that, and he's very short-sighted. And the people around him that have said, "Yeah, this is a good idea. You should do this." So, let's get it out. Very short-sighted, because I can't see that happening. And I can't help but think that, because they've lost a lot of what they had around money, protection, and everything else, that this would help with his security, and it also helps with the money in his pocket. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think it's a difficult one. I want to like him. He's Prince Harry, and he's done some great things for Britain, and I hope in the future he continues or gets the opportunity maybe to do that, but I don't think he's helped himself. If he wanted to help and show things by doing these interviews and releasing the book, I think he's just given insights to things that
he's just fed more ammunition to the media, which
unfortunately,
and doing interviews like this with 60 Minutes and saying the media are the ones that, then they're just going to keep jumping on it because they know it winds them up. For me, as I say, I think that writing that kind of book is not going to help you. If you said you wanted to be left alone to live your lives and sort of give up all your royal privileges, then that's your decision. But then do that. Don't then come back and do Netflix interviews and podcasts and Oprah Winfrey shows. Yeah. Because a lot of people aren't in. They get offended when you sort of start having a pop at your granny and stuff like that.
But certainly. So.
All right. That's that. Right. Those are our.
There you go. That's 2
cents.
Brits, let us know in the comments what you think. You don't have to write War and Peace, but we totally understand that it's difficult even for us. It's difficult for us to even write it or talk about it. Look at the video; it's just over half hour long. It's more for us to talk about this.
And
bounce it off to see what we both think. So let us know in the comments what you think.
Interesting.
Let's see where it goes from here.
See where it goes. Yeah, that's the main thing.
From, the other side. 2 sides to each story, as they say.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for joining us at Britpop's Reaction today. Until tomorrow for another reaction. It's a goodbye from me.
Goodbye from him over there.
Prince and Princess.
He's a 20th century boy.